Hey, what's up, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is quite an interesting one. If you like story times like this one, leave a like on the video. I'll do more like this. But today's story time is about how most of my family was led to believe that I was a drug addict. Now you're probably wondering, why would they think that? Well, I'll tell you. So the story time takes place when I was 17 years old. Me and two friends of mine planned to do shrooms together, and I hadn't done them in a long time. I was kind of nervous, but I was like, you know what? These are two really close friends of mine, and I feel like these are the best people to do this with. I'm sure I'll be okay, like, whatever. Now, I wasn't really thinking about what day it was at all. Like, I had slept at my friend's house the night before. So on this day, I woke up and I didn't think anything of it. I thought, like, it was just a normal day. I didn't think anything was happening with my family or, like, anything important, like a dinner or anything. Because I stayed at my friend's house the night before. And usually, if I'm about to go sleep at a friend's house, my mom would tell me, like, hey, we have something important going on tomorrow. Come back in the morning or don't sleep there. So she didn't tell me that this time, so I didn't think much of it. So, I wake up the next day, I'm with my friends, we're planning on taking these shrooms. We take the shrooms. I took like 2.5 grams, which is more than enough for me. And right after I take them, like literally right after, probably 5-10 minutes after, I get a text from my mom saying, hey, when are you coming home? So I reply and I'm like, I don't know, probably gonna sleep here again. And she's like, we have a dinner tonight. You gotta be here for that. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, what's so important that I have to be there for dinner? Like, I skip dinner with my family all the time. Like, there's no way it's that important. So I reply and I say that. I'm like, what's so important tonight? That was already a big mistake. She goes, it's my birthday. Did you seriously not remember? So in my head, I'm like, oh no, like, fuck. Not only am I in deep shit because I just forgot my mom's birthday was today, but also I just took shrooms and I have to go home and celebrate her birthday with her and my entire family on shrooms. So I don't know what to respond with. So I just said, happy birthday. What time do you want me home at? And she goes, dinner's at 5. And it was 3:30. So I had to be home kind of soon. So I replied and I said, all right, sounds good. See you then. And she goes, all right, see you. And I started to try and look at the bright side. I was like, okay, she's not that mad at me, because if she was mad at me for forgetting her birthday, she would text me and be like, can't believe you forgot. Really? Like, what the hell? So that was good. She wasn't mad at me. But in my head, I'm thinking, like, I just ate shrooms. And it's been a long time since I've done that, and I'm almost certain that I'm about to have a horrible fucking time. So I tell my friends, I'm like, guys, I forgot that today's my mom's birthday. I have to go home soon and celebrate her birthday with my entire family on shrooms. And my one friend, the one who had the shrooms, is like, dude, just go in the bathroom, throw them up, like, puke them all out, like, just go without having those in your system. And I was like, dude, that's going to make me feel even worse. And, like, I'm pretty sure if they sit there long enough, you can still have, like, minor visuals or something, even if you throw them up. He's like, yeah, maybe, but it'll be better than having them all in your system. I'm like, dude, I hate throwing up. Like, I can't do that. He's like, all right, fuck, then just go, man. Like, I'm sure you'll be fine. You didn't take that many. I'm like, fuck. So I call an Uber. I say goodbye to my friends. They wish me luck. I get in the Uber. I go home, and my mom's like, hey, you got here quick. I'm like, yeah. And I immediately just, like, walked to my room because I didn't want to deal with all the people there. There was, like, a lot of people because she invited a lot of her friends and most of our family. I don't have a huge family, but, when you put everybody in the kitchen, it's a little crowded. So I walk straight to my room, and I'm in there just on my phone waiting for visuals to kick in. And, like, 30 minutes go by, and at this point, it's been about an hour, and it starts to kick in. And I get a knock on my door, and, of course, it's my mom. And she's like, hey, we're starting dinner. You want to come out? I'm like, sure. And she goes, all right, come on. And she's being really nice, which is relieving because, I kind of forgot her birthday. So she's being, like, surprisingly nice to me. So I, like, walk out. I sit down at the table. Everyone's saying hello to me. I'm saying hi to them. I'm super anxious. And I'm just staring at the kitchen cabinets. And there's, like, colors all over them. And my depth perception's not that good. And I'm just staring at them, really just analyzing them, kind of just taking in what I'm seeing. And my mom taps me on the shoulder and she's like, hey, do you want bread? I'm like, yeah. She gives me bread. She goes, do you want pasta? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, are you okay? You don't look that good. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, just tired. And she's like, yeah, you're probably up all night at your friends, huh? I was like, yeah, kinda. And she gives me some pasta. Now at this point, I'm not hungry at all, like at all. And I know if I don't eat, she's gonna wonder what the hell's wrong with me. So I'm, like, forcing just a little bit of pasta into my mouth, trying to look normal at this family dinner. And then I look at my hands, and I just start staring at them because, of course, they didn't look like my normal hands. There were some added things, all right? I'm staring at them, super vibrant looking and just different. And I'm staring at my hands at the dinner table. And my mom goes, hey, are you okay? You're staring at your hands. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I just don't feel that good. And she's like, okay, do you want anything? And at this point, my family's like quiet. They're like staring at me. They're worried for my health. They're probably like, does this kid have the flu or something? Like, what's going on? So I stand up and I'm like, just please excuse me. I don't feel that good. So I walk into the hallway. I walk into the bathroom. I sit down on the counter of the bathroom with the door shut. And I just stare at the wall. And I'm just taking it all in. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is not ideal for what's going on right now. Like, this is not the ideal social situation at all. And of course, right after I sat down on the counter and started looking at the wall, I get a knock on the bathroom door. And I'm like, yes. And in my head, I'm like, please just leave me alone, whoever this is. And it's my mom, of course. And she goes, honey, are you okay? So I unlock the door. I open it. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And she goes, you don't seem fine. Did you smoke weed when you were at your friend's house or something? And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, if only you knew. So I say, no, I didn't smoke weed. She goes, you just don't look like you're all there. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't feel that good. I stayed up all night. I feel a little bit sick. And she's like, all right, well, don't worry about eating. Just come sit with us. I'm like, okay. Now, I can't lie. I was a little bit anxious about how nice my mom was being to me, because usually if she would suspect that I was on something back then, she would usually, really question me and get a little bit mad and just like try and get as many answers as she could. But she was being super understanding. Like, even though she thought that I smoked weed or like suspected it, she was like really nice about asking me and like didn't threaten to ground me or anything. She was being really nice. And yeah, so I went out with her to the kitchen table. I sat back down. And at this point, I'm just quiet. I'm staring down at my food, not eating it, thinking like, please no one talk to me. And of course, my uncle had to ask something. He had to start a fucking round of questions to me. He's like, hey, how have you been? How's school been? Now at this point, I dropped out of school. So of course, I had to then explain to my uncle and some of my family that didn't know yet. I was like, I dropped out of school to pursue that YouTube thing. And he was like, oh, awesome. How is the YouTube thing? I saw some of your videos a couple months ago, some of your stories. They're quite something. They're funny. And in my head, I think, you're in one right now because I'm definitely making a video about this. And when I said that in my head, I started laughing out loud like a psychopath. And he's like, yeah, they're funny. And I was like, thank you so much. Yeah, it's going really good. It's going great, actually. He's like, glad to hear. I'm so glad you found something. Like, I always knew you would. And as nice as that was to hear from him, I still was thinking about what I said in my head, so I laughed even more. And my whole family was just giving me this look of like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? Like, is he really related to me? Because I wasn't just laughing like, like a small talk, like little chuckle you do in between something funny that someone says or something kind of funny, like that fake laugh, like the No, I was like hysterically laughing right in front of him and my whole family. And I was trying to hold it back, so my face got all red, and I just looked insane. And I know my family was just like completely weirded out by that. And I stopped laughing finally. And I couldn't tell if it was the shrooms doing it or if it was just me being stupid. Because when I was in school back in the day, like just sober in class, I would think of funny things from like the day before, like jokes that I've heard. And it would make me start laughing really hard. And like I'd have to hold it back. So I think it was a mixture of that and the fact that I was high on shrooms. So yeah, that definitely didn't, mix together well. So yeah, my whole family's just like making awkward convo now because, this kid at the dinner table is fucking crazy apparently. At least that's what they thought. And my mom taps me on the shoulder after I kept staring at the wall again. And she goes, come with me in the other room for a sec. So we get up, we walk out of the room. My family's quiet because they knew something was wrong. So me and my mom, we walk into her room and she goes, what'd you do at your friend's house? I was like, nothing. She goes, you didn't smoke anything? I was like, no, just stayed up all night. She goes, really? Lack of sleep is making you act like that? I was like, act like what? She goes, you're staring at the wall, you're staring at your hands, you're being quiet, you're acting strange, you're laughing hysterically for no reason. I'm like, I'm fine. And she goes, did you smoke weed at your friend's house? I was like, no, I really didn't. She's like, do you do anything else at your friend's house? And I hesitated, and I was like, no. And she's like, why'd you hesitate? I was like, because I'm just thinking. And she's like, about what? And I'm like, nothing. And she goes, you know what? I don't believe you. I know you're bullshitting me. Go back to your friends or stay in your room for the rest of the night because I'm not letting you embarrass me on my birthday. I was like, okay, fine. So I walk outside, I call another Uber, I go back to my friend's house. And I show up, I walk downstairs, and my friend's like, hey, Austin's back. And my other friend starts giggling. He's like, dude, what happened? I thought you were going to your mom's birthday. I was like, I tried. I think she caught on. And he's like, what the fuck happened? So I tell him the whole story. They get a fucking kick out of it. They laugh super hard and pretty much just make a whole joke out of it. And it made their night for sure. They were laughing pretty hard for a long time after I told them that story. And yeah, I sat down, played Xbox with them, and pretty much just wrote out the rest of the trip at the house with them. And yeah, after that was over, I decided to sleep there. So I slept there another night. And I wake up the next day. I text my mom that I'm on the way home. My friend drives me home. I get back. I go inside. It's just my mom who's home. And I was like, hey. And she's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, nothing. And she's just like, all right, cool. How was your friends? I was like, good. It was really strange. Like, she wasn't saying anything to me about the night before. And I just said, I was like, Mom, I'm sorry about last night. She's like, it's all good. Just don't do it again. I was like, okay, thank you. And yeah, surprisingly, like, not what I thought would happen. She didn't ask any questions about if I smoked or anything or like what it was. She just kind of like went about her business that day as usual, which was really weird. And then the next day I brought it up to her. I was like, hey, why aren't you mad at me about the birthday thing? Like, you seemed really mad that night and now you're just fine. And she was like, look, at the end of the day, it was kind of embarrassing. The whole family thinks you were on something. Even I kind of do, but it's in the past. Just please don't do it again. Like, please. I understand that everything was an accident that day, and that's why I'm letting it slide, but nothing like that ever again, please. And I was like, yeah, of course. So everything was fine and good after that. And fast forward past my 18th birthday, me and her were talking about psychedelics back in the day, and I told her, I was like, hey, you remember on your birthday when I was being kind of like funny? I was like, yeah, I was on shrooms. And she was like, yeah, I had a feeling it was something like that. And I was like, oh, really? She's like, yeah, it was pretty obvious that you were on something. I was like, I'm sorry. And she was like, it's all good. I mean, the whole family kind of thinks you were on something that night, and I kind of knew it. So, yeah, no big deal. Just don't do it again. I was like, yeah, of course. And, yeah, she was calm about it, really understanding. I think it was because it was after I turned 18, and I just kind of told her. But, yeah, moral of the story is, don't do anything like that, please. But, yeah, that's pretty much into the story time. In the end, everything was all good. My family probably still thinks to this day that I'm a little bit weird. I mean, they kind of always do. But yeah, that's the end of the story time. I hope you enjoyed this story time. Please leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
Black on black, it's Armageddon. Left foot man came back a legend. They said don't head that direction. That's a dead end.